Hi everyone, I'm Cody, W3AMG from BridgeCom Systems. Today I'm super excited to talk to you about everything that comes with your 578 radio out of the box. Then we'll walk you through programming your radio. Once you're done watching this video, you'll be able to make your first QSO on DMR. So let's get started and open up this box. Okay, so now we are going to open up the box and see what's inside. There we go. So first off, we have our BridgeCom University slip. This is going to be your access code to BridgeCom University and all of the great training videos on there. If you ever have any questions about the radio and programming it, setting it up, it will walk you right through that. Got a packing slip. Lots of packing peanuts. Okay, so here we have the radio itself. Comes in a box like this. We're going to open it up for you. Okay, so we have a couple AnyTone stickers. Looks like a Bluetooth user guide for the Bluetooth functionality of the radio. The user manual itself, we certainly recommend BridgeCom University over that, but it's there if you do want to reference it. Here we have a bracket for the radio. So this is what you can use to mount it in your vehicle or on top of a power supply or in your shop. We'll go through the accessories first. So on this side, we have our GPS antenna. So if you mount this in a vehicle, you can stick this somewhere either on the roof or up high in the vehicle, and then this will run to the back of the radio. Then here we have the microphone, speaker mic for the radio with the keypad on it. Over in this side, we have the power cable for it. So this, if you're mounting it in a vehicle or a power supply in your house, has two ends on it. These are going to connect to positive and negative for your DC power source. And got a few inline fuses. The other end is going to connect right up to your radio. Then we have our Bluetooth push-to-talk button. So this radio can pair to your car with Bluetooth. And then this button will operate on a separate Bluetooth channel. This will always be able to, you push this button and it will talk to the radio and activate the push-to-talk. Then here is a vehicle mount for the microphone. So you can just attach this to your vehicle and put the microphone on there like so. Then we have the micro USB charging cable for the Bluetooth push-to-talk button. And then here is the micro USB programming cable. The way you can differentiate these two, the charging cable has two ends on it, and the programming cable just has one. Okay, and then here is a bag of a variety of screws, spare fuses, washers. These are going to be useful for mounting your radio, mounting in your vehicle using the bracket. And finally, that is everything in the box itself. And here's the radio. So taking it out of the box, we have the radio. So we will go over a few things on it real quick. Here are the two volume knobs for your separate A and B channels. Then we have the channel select knob over here. Different buttons here for different functions depending on how you have it set up. Then here's our power button. Obviously this is the port you're going to plug in your microphone. Then going around to the back, we have this is where you connect the antenna. We have a fan over here. That is the GPS antenna connection. So you plug your GPS antenna into there. Not necessary, so if you don't want to use GPS, you don't have to connect it. It's not going to hurt anything. Then underneath this cover here, we have two speaker outputs. So that you can connect an external speaker to this radio if you desire. I will say the built-in speaker on this is fantastic. It's very loud and clear. And then finally, over here on this side of the radio by the two knobs, there is a micro USB programming cable port. So to get this ready for programming, simply plug in your programming cable to that port. Just like that. We're going to plug the other end of this into your computer. Now you will need to connect this to power. So we'll use the supplied power cable. plug this in and then connect this to our power supply or vehicle. And now we're going to take it over to Duane, and he is going to show you how to program it.
So I'm going to take you through how to download the correct software to be able to talk and see the radio on your PC. This is the step one of out of the box. So what we're going to do, I'm on the BridgeCom website, and I'm going to actually go to the support menu right here. Click on that. Now we're going to scroll down. I'm working with the 878 Plus handheld radio. So here is where I would be downloading the firmware and driver downloads. But I want to stop here for just a minute. This video may be using the 878 as an example, but you can use the same concept with the 868 or the mobile. It's the same process. The only difference is you'd be grabbing a different firmware download. So let's continue on with the 878. We'll go into the firmware download page. Now, there's lots of related articles. There's helpful guides here, just so you know that there's a lot of information that's on our web pages. This here is the actual download of the software. So the various old versions of the software are there. There are some folks that like a certain firmware. They want to stay there. They're not so sure. They want to go to a new one. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to use 1.21, which is the latest software firmware. So we're going to click on this, and it's going to be downloading into my download folder. So while this is downloading, I'm going to do a quick pause so I don't waste a lot of your time here. Well, welcome back. My zip file for 1.21 firmware and software has downloaded. It's in my downloads folder. We're going to take a look at it in the folder. If you don't get this gray box at the bottom of a download, that's usually a Windows 10 window. So we'll go ahead into the downloads folder here, which basically is users Duane downloads. It's a standard download folder for Windows 10. And you can see we've downloaded a zip file, a compressed file for 878 UVV 1.21 official release. So the first thing we have to do is we have to extract these files so that we can actually use them. You cannot use compressed files to load. I use a program called 7-Zip. It's one of my favorites. You can download 7-Zip for free. Just go out and Google search 7-Zip. I'm going to go ahead and extract the folders into my downloads folder. So I'm going to choose extract here. All right, so now the extracted folders are read first update instructions, the D878 CPS or customer programming software. If you wanted to update to the 1.21 firmware, this is where the firmware is located in this folder. We've got some special background screens that are provided as a service. There's a conversion program that's typically not needed any longer. There was a time when digital contacts were only JSON. And then also we have a programming guides folder. So the first one we'll look at is, of course, would be read first. So we'll open that up. Now, in this is some user update instructions. However, there's some guides in here too. So the first one is the Bluetooth user guide. There's also a changelog PDF that tells you what's been changed in the latest 1.21 firmware or whatever firmware you happen to download. This has a baseband update. It's typically not needed unless you really have to do it. And then there's a firmware instructions, etc., etc. Also is a user manual. So looking at the baseband update, I just want to open this up. This is an instruction for doing it. Tells you what keys to hold, what you're going to see in the menu. And these are typical of the instructions. We'll go ahead and look at a firmware update instruction. Same thing. It tells you to go ahead and make sure you have the right COM port set. And then as it goes down, make sure you turn off the GPS. Now it says GPS and APRS. If you turn off GPS, you automatically turn off APRS, so it's very easy. And then it tells you the keys to hold to do a firmware update and the status of the radio when you do that, you hold those two keys down while you're turning the radio on, and the LED will begin blinking red over here, and then you know you're in firmware update mode. So I'm not going to go into this in any detail. I just wanted to kind of give you an overview of what's in this folder. It's important information as you go forward. Now, one other thing I want to show you before we go to the actual install the customer programming software is this programming guides folder. There's a VFO programming guide, and then there's the AnyTone programming guide, which is in 4 different languages. So we'll open up the English one. I just want to show you that this programming guide has a lot of good information. It's got a index in it. So if you wanted to know about importing and exporting, if you wanted to know about startup screen options, there's quite a bit of guide information in this. So we'll go ahead and close that. That's just an overview. So the whole purpose of today is to get you up and running with your AnyTone 878. So you have your 878 in your hand. Let's go ahead and plug the radio cable into the radio and into the PC. Now, once you've done that, do not turn the radio on yet. That's coming up. So we got the cable plugged in. I'm going to open up the customer programming software folder. In that is the setup for 1.21 customer programming software. This is the software you must load on your PC to be able to talk and see the COM ports in your radio. I'm going to right click on this file and run it as administrator. That's the proper way to make an installation of the AnyTone CPS, our customer programming software. It's going to ask me, do I want it to load? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say English. Now we're going to use the wizard. Now here's an issue right here. This default location to put this is D drive. Many folks don't have D drive. I personally don't use a D drive for my program, so I will change this to C drive. And I recommend you actually change this to C drive even if you do have a D drive. I find it works better to have it on the C drive. So now that we've set that properly, we'll go next. It's going to say, do I want to put the folder in there? Now, in this particular case, I've already installed 1.121 in my machine before. You would not get this message. It's just asking if the folder, if I want to overwrite what's in the folder. I'm going to say yes so we can make this demo. Go next. We're going to create a desktop icon. We're going to do the install. Now, I could launch this CPS, but I'm not going to launch it because I want to show you where to find it on your desktop after we've installed it. So we'll do a finish here. Now I'm going to close this. No longer need these files, so we're going to close this. I'm going to actually just hide this here from my BridgeCom site. This is the icon. I'm going to put it right on the middle of my machine. This is the D878UV 1.21 customer programming software. And you would have an icon put on your desktop just like this. So now we have the radio plugged in. We haven't turned it on yet. So let's go ahead and open this CPS. This is the customer programming software. It defaults to the channel menu. Now there's 3 things, or 4 things actually, you need to know. At the first time we load a new CPS version, we have to go into the tool menu and options and tell it what's in our radio. So you would basically see a menu that looks like this. Since I've already loaded this program once and already set this, it was set to my radio. If you have a D878 Plus radio, you would be checking GPS, Bluetooth, and APRS. The 500-hour record module is a special module that is used in place of the Bluetooth. There aren't many of them shipping with radios. Most people are using the Bluetooth, so this would not be checked. We'll click OK. Now, the basics of the AnyTone code plug are you have to have 3 things. You have to have a minimum of 1 channel, a minimum of 1 zone, of which this does not have as a default. So we'll create a zone 1 and we'll put the 2 channels that come as examples in there. And the third thing before we can write to the radio is under the digital section here, a radio ID list. This is where you would put your DMR ID and your name. I'll double click on this to open it. We're going to put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as a test. We'll tab over. I'll leave it named radio ID. For those users that have their DMR ID, this is where you would put your DMR ID in and your call sign and name. In this case, we're just doing an example here, and this is the default code plug, so I just want to get it so that it's available. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my radio on, and we're going to take a look under the Set COM menu right up here, top menu Set COM. I'm going to watch the radio as it turns on, and when you turn the radio on, it basically will turn on the COM port. The COM port is in the radio, and it's hardware in the radio, so we have to turn it on. The radio has booted. There's our COM port. So cable plugged in, radio turned on, checking Set COM, highlight the COM port that pops up, check OK, and we're now ready to read or write to the radio. In my case, we're going to go back up to channels. I'm going to actually read the radio. I already have a full code plug in my radio. New users will not, but you still want to read the radio to see what's in the default. In this case, we won't be showing you that, but you'll probably get about 8 or 9 channels that are examples, and it will have a radio ID and it will have a zone. So in my case, up to program menu here at the top, you can choose to either read from the radio or write to the radio. Or if you don't like to go up to program menus, right here on the task icon bar, there's a write to the radio, and if I move over and skip one, there's a read from the radio. So we'll go ahead and read from the radio. Do I want to save what we made changes to this default code plug? No, I don't. Senseless. Read the data from the radio. So we have a choice of reading just the code plug data or digital contact list. Digital contact list is something that's loaded into the radio memory, and it converts the digital DMR ID to a call sign, username, and location. It's a big database. We're not going to try to retrieve this out of my radio. We're just going to stick with other data. Click OK. Now, this is a point of AnyTone that is a bug that could be called a bug. It's not really a bug. It's just a poorly written device driver. So I'm gonna click OK here. I'm gonna return my radio on just to reset. Gonna go back up to COM. Gonna look for this COM port again. This is not uncommon with the AnyTone radio on the first go around to have this happen. Now we're going to go ahead and use the read to radio. Not going to save anything. Okay, bingo. Now you see we've made the correct COM port connection. I've read the data. Now this is my code plug here. So these are all the channels that I use. These are the zones I have, and I have a radio ID list with my correct call sign in it. And that is basically the beginning of setting the radio up. In case of new users, you're going to have to learn to program a code plug. So there's plenty of information on the BridgeCom website. If you send us a ticket that you need a little help, we've got some documents we can send you. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Thank you for listening. Again, loading the customer programming software, downloading the firmware into your download folder, extracting it, and getting the CPS connected to the radio. Thanks for listening today. I hope this is helpful to the new users.
Today we showed you exactly what comes with your AnyTone 578 UV3 Pro and how to properly program the radio from out of the box. If you're still having questions or are curious about getting one for yourself, click the link in the description down below. If you'd like to see more content like today, click the subscribe button down below so you'll always be notified when another video comes out. Thanks again for watching. I'm Cody, W3AMG from BridgeCom Systems, 7.3.